You are born in Rome, 126 AD. Congratulations. You've just entered the world as property. Your mother is a wet nurse, which makes her valuable enough to be kept alive and fed, but not valuable enough to raise her own children. You're pulled from her breast within hours so she can get back to her real job, nourishing someone else's infant. You are handed off to other slaves, raised in a communal shuffle that isn't built on love, only survival. Think of it as ancient Rome's daycare, except nobody volunteered. By the time you're 5, you've already learned the household hierarchy. At the top, the dominus and domina, the master and mistress who own not just the villa, but you. Below them, freed slaves with scraps of privilege. Below them, skilled slaves. Below them, the general laborers. And finally, a small, separate category just for you, the girls being groomed to replace their mothers as milk producers. Congratulations. You've won the genetic lottery of exploitation. You're not educated like the scribes' children. No letters, no numbers, no philosophy. Instead, your body is tracked like livestock. Every few weeks, an older slave woman measures your weight, inspects your chest, asks blunt questions about blood and cycles. Her notes go to the steward, who evaluates you the way he'd evaluate a cow's fertility. At 13, the surveillance intensifies. Your diet changes, more meat, more milk, fewer acidic foods, all carefully chosen to optimize the future flavor and quality of your milk. Your work assignments lighten, not to ease your suffering but to preserve your vital organs of production. You are moved closer to the other candidates, away from men, away from distractions. And then you meet Marcus. He's a field slave rotated temporarily into household duties. He laughs at your jokes. You share scraps of bread during meals. For a moment, you feel like a person. The master notices the attachment and decides it could be useful. He allows a contubernum, an unofficial slave marriage. Quick ceremony, iron rings, and a borrowed tunic. How romantic. When the pregnancy arrives, you're almost relieved. At least you conceived with someone you chose, not a pairing forced like livestock. 9 months later, you give birth. The baby is perfect. She is yours for roughly 18 hours. Then she is taken away to be raised by strangers while you are cleaned, dressed, and handed to a wealthy family whose newborn son requires milk. Upper-class Roman women rarely nurse their own children. It's beneath them, and worse, it delays their ability to conceive again. So they outsource motherhood to you. You are supposed to feel honored. Instead, you learn the first lesson of your profession: your body exists for someone else's child. Your diet is even more controlled now: no garlic, no onions, no wine. Your sleep patterns are dictated by the infant's cries. 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m. You live in fragments of rest between feedings. And Marcus? He's shipped back to field labor. A wet nurse mustn't be distracted by husbands or sentiment. Your entire world is reduced to your breasts and the baby at your chest, a child who is not your own. At 18 months, the child is weaned. Your heart shatters, but you are reassigned. The Flavius family this time. Then another. And another. Each household takes you for a year or two, then discards you like a vessel once emptied. You adapt. By the third household, you've perfected a grim skill, loving just enough to do your job, but not enough to break when the separation comes. You become efficient at heartbreak. It's not a talent anyone would list on a resume, but it keeps you alive. And then, something strange happens. The Cornelius boy you nursed grows unusually strong. He walks early, talks early, never gets sick. Whispers begin, maybe it's your milk. When the Flavius child shows the same uncanny vigor, the whispers turn into demand. You become the wet nurse. The one families compete for. The one whose milk is rumored to produce prodigies. Wealthy patrons send extra gifts to keep you healthy. Your quarters are upgraded. You receive soft bedding, better rations, small tokens of comfort. For 2 decades, you exist in this paradox, a slave with status. You are still owned, still controlled, still moved like a piece of furniture, but for the first time, you are treated as valuable. Families send personal requests. Senators' wives whisper your name like a brand of fine wine. You are property, yes, but premium property. Then, in your early 40s, the signs appear. Some days your supply falters. You hide it at first with extra fluids, richer food, desperate hope. But biology doesn't negotiate. At 44, the flow stops entirely. Your value collapses overnight. No more gifts, no more privileges. You're reassigned to general labor, scrubbing floors, hauling firewood, emptying chamber pots. You move back to the crowded slave quarters. Your hands blister. Your back bends. The comfort of 20 years evaporates in days. By 62, you are ancient by slave standards, gray hair, bent spine, bones aching with every movement. You assume you'll die here, in obscurity, with no legacy. Then one winter morning, while you scrub the villa floor, a woman approaches. She has your eyes. She is well-dressed, confident, free. She is searching for her mother, a wet nurse who worked here decades ago. Her gaze lingers on your face. Recognition blooms. When she smiles nervously, you see Marcus in her expression. Your hands shake. You whisper, "What was her name?" She doesn't know. She was taken at birth. But she has been searching for years. And now, finally, she has found you. She negotiates your freedom. To her, the price is trivial. To you, it is everything. For the first time, you walk out of a Roman household not as property, but as a free woman. You spend 8 months in her modest home. A garden. Sunshine. A bed that is yours alone. You die peacefully one spring morning, your daughter holding your hand. It sucked to be a wet nurse slave in Rome. It sucked to be any kind of slave in Rome. But in a world that commodified your body and erased your motherhood, you still found a final victory, a daughter who remembered, and a moment of freedom before the end.